Hey everyone, welcome back to Cates and Trading. I'm going to start a new series today that will hopefully shed a little light on what I do and how I do it and why. So this is more of an educational type of thing. I'll keep these videos short. I don't want to bore anyone to death with what I'm doing here. And I'm creating these because a friend of mine took a look at my channel and suggested it might be a good idea to explain this because as of right now, I mean, it looks like my target audience is more towards, highly experienced traders that know what they're doing. And I really wanted it to be more expansive than that and kind of help out people that they do have some experience trading or know about stocks, but kind of want to know how I go about what I do because I've had a lot of success. So I'm not going to explain the entire stock market and explain how to trade the most basic of stocks or anything like that. I'm not here for that. I'm hoping that if you are at my channel, you have at least some experience in doing that sort of thing, or you know what the stock market is and what stocks are, and at least that much anyway. So more experienced traders that might be coming to my channel, they might see that I do things in kind of a different way. I generally focus on leveraged ETFs. And I think a good place to start for this series is what's an ETF? A lot of people might not know what that is. So ETF stands for Exchange Traded Fund. And basically what that is it's sort of like a mutual fund, but in my mind, they're actually better. You can trade them in the stock market just like any other stock. They don't have any special behavior in how you trade them. So one thing I like about them is that they're simple. They're very easy to use because they're just like stocks. What makes them different though is that they're basically baskets of stocks that are related in some way. So I mentioned TQQQ the other day. That is an ETF. It happens to be a triple leveraged one, which is why the T is there. It represents the NASDAQ 100. So it is basically a collection of the top 100 stocks on the NASDAQ. So it's kind of all rolled into one. You get one price for it. The thing I like about something like that is I can buy just TQQQ and feel like I own 100 different stocks because they're all wrapped up into that one. It feels a little less volatile to me to have one ETF that has a whole bunch of stuff in it, rather than buying an individual stock and just hoping for that one stock to go up. As I mentioned previously, I'm very familiar with the GameStop saga. I'm a huge gamer. I feel like I never trusted the market to begin with, but I didn't realize how much nonsense goes on and how much manipulation goes on. And that really opened my eyes to how terrible things can be and how hard it is for, Joe Schmoes like you and me to make any money in the market. So I basically carved out my own little niche with using leveraged ETFs. I'll get into the leverage aspect of it in a minute, but so ETFs, on the bright side, they're baskets of stocks in some related way. The downside is the leveraged ones at least can be more risky. You have to know what you're doing with them. You don't want to hold on to them for too long. It's really, to me, a good vehicle for swing traders or people holding short term. Long term, it's not as good. There's something called decay. I'm not going to get into the details of that. It gets too complicated for what I'm talking about right now. So now that what an ETF is out of the way, let's talk about what a leveraged ETF is. So there are 2x ETFs, 3x, 4x now. There's only one 4x that I'm aware of. But basically what that means is for each of the ETFs that are leveraged, you basically get higher volatility, but they're 2x, 3x, or 4x, or whatever the price of the underlying asset. So if I'm looking at TQQQ, that's a triple leveraged ETF representing the NASDAQ 100. So the regular ETF for the NASDAQ 100 is QQQ. If that thing is, I don't know, $20 a share, then you can expect TQQQ to be like $60 a share. And if QQQQ goes up 1%, then TQQQ goes up 3%. If QQQQ goes down 1%, then TQQQ goes down 3%. So it's basically triple the risk of the QQQ. So if you're an older investor and you're not willing to take big risks, then leveraged ETFs are probably not what you want to be into. For someone like me who's, I've got a long way to go before I feel like I'm ready to buy boomer stocks and just hold on to those for the rest of my life. I like the volatility. I like the higher risk stuff. It can be a double-edged sword though, because it's tough. You got to pay close attention. But when they are working and they're in a strong uptrend, they can go up a ton. So they're great. You just have to know when to get out of them if they're falling and going in the wrong direction. So that's basically it for what an ETF is and what a leveraged ETF is. And leveraged ETFs are pretty much my bread and butter. I trade them all the time. I'm going to switch over to TradingView in just a minute, and when I come back, I will show you the ones that I am most focused on. So I'll be back in 1 minute. Hang on. All right, so here I am back with TradingView in focus here, and I'm going to switch over to this. I call my focus list. If you look up here on the top right corner. So in TradingView, I have several different watch lists, and my focus list is a collection of my ETFs that I paid the most attention to. Honestly, I probably could get by just looking at this watch list and not trading anything but these particular ETFs. I happen to like to look at this longer one. It gives me a little bit more flexibility in what I'm trading. But for a long time, these are the only ones that I really ever bothered with. So I'm going to run through these. This is a really good place to start, if you ask me, as far as which ETFs are, or triple leveraged or double leveraged ETFs are the ones to pay the most attention to. So Boyle is a natural gas ETF. I believe it's triple leveraged. It might be double. I have all these listed in alphabetical order, but first the green ones, the green flags are the bullish ones, or long, and then the red ones are the bearish or short side. So Boyle is the bullish side, and cold is its inverse. So cold is the one that is shorting natural gas. Very volatile ETFs, they're tough to trade. Moving on to FNGU. This is the FANG stocks. So before FANG was Facebook, Apple, Amazon, I guess too. It was Netflix, and now Nvidia's in there, I believe, as well, and Google, so FANG. I think now, though, there's some other stuff in there too. I think Snowflake is one that's in there. Just a handful of different companies that have been in here, and now it's sort of called the Magnificent Seven. It's sort of the same idea. It's just the best and biggest stocks on the market. I believe Tesla is part of it now too. So FNGU, this is a very bullish triple leveraged ETF. And then there's FNGD. This is the inverse. I don't know of a FANG ETF that's not leveraged. There might be one. It might just be called FANG, but I've never looked into it because I'm all about the leveraged. LABU, or LABU, this is biotech. This is the bullish 3X version. And then LabD is its inverse, so that's the bearish version. SOXL, I mentioned before, this used to be like my favorite ETF to trade. For some reason, I was just very much in tune with it, but nowadays with it chopping around sideways, it's much more difficult to trade, and I try to avoid it right now. But this is semiconductor stocks, and its inverse is SOXS, so that's that. Very messy looking charts. SPXL, in fact, actually, so SPXL is the triple leveraged S&P 500, but I've since switched over to SPYU, because this one is, as far as I know, the only 4 times leveraged ETF on the market. I do think SPXL is a little slow. In fact, let me get rid of that and add SPYU into the watch list here. It doesn't move as fast as some of these others do. So I think maybe SPYU came out for people like me who like the higher volatility and wanted to move, higher percentages per day. So higher risk, higher reward. And SPXS is its inverse. I do not believe there's a 4X bearish ETF, at least not yet anyway, so SPXS will have to do. TechL is a triple leverage technology ETF, and TechS is its inverse. To me, it's sort of related to SOXL and SOXL semiconductors, which is obviously very technical, at least it's obvious to me. So yeah, I usually trade the SOX ETFs, SOXL or SOXX, instead of TECL and TECS, but either one is good for getting some exposure to technology. TNA, this is small cap. Weird name, I don't know why it's called TNA, but that's the triple leverage small cap. And then TZA is its inverse. That thing, both of them have been very up and down lately. TQQQ, this one is very much a go-to. It's a very good ETF, if you ask me, and it's the one that I use the most. I mentioned in a previous video that I look at this more than anything to kind of get an overall sense of what the market is doing. And SQQQ is the inverse. So those, 16 or whatever? Yeah, 16 symbols. Those are the ones that I focus on the most. If I go over to my other more thorough ETF list, I have all these single stock ETFs that are just, most of them are the FANG stocks. I'm not going to cover those in detail here. And then here on this more extensive list of leveraged ETFs, I just have some other ones that they're either newer to me or I don't trade them as much. Like this is a Bitcoin one, and you have some real estate, energy, Ethereum. This is financial. Yeah, you got some gold, Chinese internet. This is marijuana stuff. This is home builders, like just a little bit of everything going on in here. But as I said earlier, you can focus primarily just on these and probably do just fine. And as I keep saying, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just kind of explaining what I do one step at a time here. So I'm going to continue this series. We'll see where we go from here. I might be talking about what kind of accounts I use and how I do my trading and things like that next. So for now, that's it. We're just going to keep it nice and simple for starters, and hopefully this will be useful to someone out there, and we'll grow it from there, man. All right. Thank you, everyone. Until next time. See ya.